However, if you're able to be in a team in a marriage, then it offers so many benefits. I mean, the basic thing of all is, on the basis of all is just think two people can achieve and do far more than one person on their own. That is bottom line. Okay? But the two people, they need to work in a team in order to be better and better off than the one person on their own. There is no point in a marriage, in a team, where it's only one person doing all the work, because then they're just doing their work, their output would be the same as a single person, but it's actually a disadvantage because they've got someone freeloading on them as well. And so they've got someone they've got to provide for as well, and it's basically dragging them down. So I guess that's also why there have been unsuccessful marriages and marriages that have been unsuccessful because it's been only one person doing everything. And that is unfair. And of course, it's going to break up. You know, one person gets sick of it. And I guess the other person that's not pulling their weight, it's either they can't or they won't or they do not care. And then it dissolves and then they're back to being single. They don't have the safety net of having someone to watch your back. Because at the end of the day, the great benefit of being married over being single is that you have each other to fall back on. Okay, you have that safety net of the other person as well, watching your back. And not only that, being able to achieve more with two people other than one person and get to your goals even sooner and being far more productive. That's the baseline. But if you want to go into specifics, then, you know, some of the potential reasons why it benefits everyone, marriage, both men and women, is firstly companionship. Okay, this is an emotional thing. Because marriage provides a sense of companionship and connection that is beneficial for people. I mean, having a partner to share one's life with can provide emotional support, reduce loneliness, and improve one's well-being. There is also shared responsibilities. I mean, marriage would involve shared responsibilities. And for example, a married woman may have someone to help with household chores and childcare, which can free up time and energy for her other pursuits and other things that she needs to do. But like I said, it needs to be benefit. She has to keep the marriage in mind and her partner in mind, because your time then is not just your own, it's also your partner's time. So all those hobbies that you used to do when you're single, is it fair for you to continue with them now that you've got a partner? Because the time spent on your hobbies is time taken away from being productive to help this partnership, this team. You have to remember that. Also, financial benefits, as is saying, you know, besides the some tax breaks in certain situations, it's really the ability to pool resources. And it's going to be very helpful if you're trying to save money or build wealth. I mean, just trying to rent a place. You know, it might nowadays can take up so much of your income. And for a lot of people, after they've paid the rent, bills, and bought food, then they have nothing else left over. So how can you build wealth? And I guess with a lot of people, a lot of couples, especially married, they use one partner's wages to pay all the bills, and the other's partner's wages are there for saving. So then straight away it helps you. And you know, even just the cost of renting someone split over between two. Like I say, if, for example, you might rent a one-bedder apartment, it might cost you $500. But if you rent a two-bedder, it might be $600 for two people. So then it works out only like $300 per person. Much better than if you were each to rent your own place. And you pay almost only a little more in terms of overheads, like electricity bills. It's only a fraction more with two people than one person, because saying, yeah, you still got the one fridge, it still uses the same electricity, the lighting of the place the same, and if you were to heat up, the same sort of thing. Maybe you pay more in terms of more water being used because there's two people and electricity and so forth. In regards to an additional shower, that sort of thing. But it's all marginal. Okay, so financially, it does make sense. But then again, both partners need to be responsible with money, because you're then accountable. Remember, you're accountable to your partner, not just yourself. If it's yourself, you can spend your money willy-nilly. Who does it affect? You, yourself. And so if you're doing yourself a disservice by your habits, then it all falls back on yourself. But if you spend it willy-nilly, it's also going to affect the other person, your partner. Because how well one does, what happens to one, directly affects the other, because you're sharing a life together. Okay? So this is something that people don't grasp, I see, and don't realize, where if you really think about it, it's quite basic. But then no one teaches people that. And I'd say not society, and not even parents, which I am very surprised about, which is what parents should be doing. They should be, it should be a lot more than just raising your children to be physically big and just let them to their own devices. What about actually training them for life and imparting your knowledge and your experience that you've accumulated throughout your life? Why not hand that down to your children? That'll give them a big advantage in life and so forth. But I know as a lot of people, it would say, oh, they wouldn't listen. Look, what it should be is you give the advice, then it's up to them whether or not they take it on board. Okay, if they do, that's great. If they don't, it just falls back on them. They're responsible. You got to give good advice and you didn't take it. Who can they blame them? As parents, then, you have done your responsibility, fulfilled your responsibility by passing that knowledge on. And whether or not they take it, then it's all on them. Okay? But parents, please do. Please teach your children and pass it on. It doesn't cost you anything. But these lessons are so valuable, and it's not something that you can buy. Imagine you enroll in a course that will teach you all this. No one does. All right. And also, there is a range of health benefits as well, because studies have shown that married people tend to have better overall health outcomes than unmarried people. And this can be due in part to emotional and social support from a spouse, as well as shared responsibilities that can encourage a healthier lifestyle. Okay? So, you might be indulging in ice cream all the time, and then your partner kind of taps you on the shoulder and kind of nah, honey, that's probably not a good idea, kind of thing. And you might feel, okay, a bit embarrassed by the second tub of ice cream you've had that week, that sort of thing. But also, yes, a very big thing about health and marriage, benefits of marriage and having a married partner, a married spouse, is just think about when you're ill. Okay, what happens when you fall ill? Who would look after you? I know I've come across some people that I don't need anyone, I can look after myself. Until he got really sick and he needed someone to look after him, and then he stopped saying that. Imagine. Could have told me, because there are instances where it's all fine and well when, say, you got the flu or cold or whatever, you can go out and cook yourself instant noodles or something like that. But what if you just can't get out of bed? If you're ill, unless you've had an accident or something, you can't go to hospital. When people go to hospital, but who's going to look after you then? You're in bed with a really bad flu, or if you happen to have COVID, the hospitals are not going to accept you unless you need to be in intensive care. Who's going to be cooking your meals for you, bringing it to you? Otherwise, every time you need to drink more water or so forth, you have to get out of bed and fetch it. It's an effort to do that every time when you're so ill, trying to get out of bed. And what about food then? Are you going to go get up and cook on your own? Some people say yes, you can call on Uber to deliver yourself food, but remember, Uber and that is takeaway food. And when you're ill, takeaway food is probably not something that you would find palatable, let alone try to digest it, as it's normally very oily. It's not sick people food. And it's just looking after and helping you to go to the doctor even. That sort of thing. You are going to be able to drive yourself. If you're going to be that ill that you need to go to the doctor, should you be driving? And then getting there and then getting back and say, okay, you call an Uber. It's not the same. Might drive you to your destination, but who's going to help you get out of bed, get out of the car and go in? It's lots of different reasons. And you might even need a special diet. How are you going to do that? Like I was saying, then your partner would be the one to help you. And that is the big thing. When it's what are the vows, marriage vows is typically in sickness and in health. Lots of people can do the in health. That's simple. But not everyone can do the sickness, but it's in sickness is what you most need your partner for.